On the third day of his trip to Japan, it is still issues foreign and domestic that are following Micheál Martin, particularly the government's stance on the Occupied Territories Bill. As pre-legislative scrutiny continues at the Oireachtas Foreign Affairs Committee, opponents of the government have accused the government of making a false distinction between the importation of goods, which would be banned under the government's rewrite of the bill, and the importation of services, which as it stands would not be outlawed. The government says that's because of a legal distinction that needs to be made. The opposition say that wasn't a distinction that the Attorney-General himself made when he offered advice last summer. The government today now says that in fact there are concerns about the impact on American companies should a ban on services come into place.
The boycotting divestment legislation, which is already passed by numerous states in America, which would penalise any company that from an American perspective participates in boycotts. And whilst we're just involved in the occupied territories, not Israel as a country, nonetheless there's a concerted campaign in terms of misrepresenting the Irish position, and so that's an issue we have to factor in, because we don't want any companies or multinationals in Ireland inadvertently caught up in this.
Micheál Martin did say, however, that it wasn't a case of the government prioritising Ireland's economic interests over a moral point, saying that it wasn't merely a moral point when so many hundreds of thousands of Irish people are employed by American companies. Rather, is it a case of making sure that pressure is put on Israel, but not, he says, hampering Ireland's own economic interests while doing so. No doubt opposition will still continue to debate whether or not services should be included in the bill. The government still says it is happy to have services included if it is possible to do so on a legal basis, and also if it's possible to enforce that bill and try to distinguish imports from the occupied territories and goods that are coming from Israel itself.